Good evening and welcome to News on Impact Africa Television, Iatv. I am Gbenga, Olabisi. The Senate has suspended plenary for 1 week to continue the budget defense process. The lawmakers will continue the process for 1 more week and resumed on November 5th. Senate President Ahmed Lawan will disclose this, said at the close of plenary today. This is to enable the Senate committees to meet with the Senate Committee on Appropriation, part of the procedure for budget passage. Addressing the lawmakers, the Senate President commended all the committees for the work done on the budget defense in the last 2 weeks. He said the lawmakers have almost finished the budget defense.
Let me, first of all, commend all our committees, distinguished senators, for the wonderful work that we have been doing on the budget defense in the last 2 weeks. We have shown commitment, we have shown dedication and capacity to discharge our responsibilities very patriotically for the love of our country. Our committees have worked, in some cases, with sister committees from the House of Representatives. In some other cases, the committees work simultaneously in the House and the Senate. But we have done so wonderfully well so far. We have almost finished the budget defense. Today will be the last day for budget defense, and therefore this plenary session will not take long. We'll adjourn to enable our committees to conclude in their budget defense today, and also for our subcommittees to start forwarding and defending their budgets, forwarding their reports to the Committee on Appropriation and defending from tomorrow before the Senate Committee on Appropriations. And that exercise, that process will last for 1 week. We start from tomorrow, the budget defense before the Committee on Appropriations, and conclude on the 5th of November by the grace of God. That's a period of 1 week. And within that period, we will not hold plenary so that we have the entire time, the full time for us to conclude work on the budget. So with this, I want to commend all of us here for doing so well. It has been quite remarkable, and I believe that going forward, our subcommittees, the subcommittees of appropriation, will also be able to finish the budget defense before the Committee on Appropriations by Tuesday next week. That will be the 5th of November.
The committees, having met with ministries, departments and agencies, will present their report to the Appropriations Committee for Harmonization, which will be presented on the floor of the Senate. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the Senate to confirm the appointment of nominees to the Governing Board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. ITV's National Assembly correspondent Hiram Lokodi completes the report that the President made the request via a letter read by Senate President Ahmed Lawan during plenary session today. The report is presented by Zion Victor Tadi.
President Muhammadu Buhari is seeking approval of the Senate for appointments into the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) and also the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). In separate letters to the Senate, the President wants the Senate to confirm the appointment of Dr. Pius Odubu as chairman for the Niger Delta Development Commission. The President also sought the confirmation of Bernard O. Okumagbe from Delta as managing director, Engineer Otobong Indem from Akwa Ibom as executive director of projects, Maxwell Oko from Bayelsa State as Executive Director of Finance and Admin, and 12 others as state representatives of the Commission.
Dear distinguished Senate President, confirmation of appointments of the Board of Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). In accordance with provision of Section 2, subsection 2A of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) Establishment Act 2000, I write to forward for confirmation by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria the underlisted nominees for appointment into the NDDC board to occupy the positions indicated against their names. The nominees' CVs are attached herewith. 1. Dr. Pius Odubu, Edo State, Chairman. 2. Bernard O. Ukumagba, Delta, Managing Director. 3. Engineer Otobong Indem, Akwa Ibom, Executive Director, Projects. 4. Maxwell Oko Bayelsa, Executive Director, Finance and Administration. 5. Prophet Jones Eroe, Delta Rep. 6. Chief Victor Ehato, Edo Rep. That's representative. 7. Dr. Joy Imebi Nunye, Rivers representative. 8. Nwogu N. Nwogu, Abia representative. 9. Theodore A. Allison, Bayelsa representative. 10. Victor Antai, Akwa Ibom representative. 11. Maurice Efiwat, Cross River representative. 12. Gbenga Edema, Ondo representative. 13. Honorable Uchegbu Chidia Bere Kirian, Imo representative. 14. Aisha Murtala Muhammad Kanu, Northwest representative. 15. Shuaibu Ardo Zubairu Adamawa, Northeast representative. And 16. Ambassador Abdullahi M. Bagye, Nasarawa, North Central representative. While hoping that the Senate will consider and confirm the nominees in the usual expeditious manner, please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
Senate Committee on NDDC has been given 1 week to work on the request. In a similar letter read by the President of the Senate, Buhari also requested the Senate to confirm the appointment of 3 resident electoral commissioners.
Dear distinguished Senate President, request for confirmation of appointment of 3 state resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Pursuant to paragraph 14, subsection 3 of part 1 of the 3rd schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I hereby write to request for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of the following 3 nominees as resident electoral commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The nominees are 1. Umar Mukhtar Gajiram, Commissioner, Borno State. 2. Dr. Alalibo Sinikiam Johnson, Commissioner, Bayelsa State. And 3. Rahim Muhyiddin Olalekon, Commissioner, Osun State. The curricula vitae of the nominees are attached herewith. While I trust that the distinguished Senate will consider this request in the usual expeditious manner, please accept, the distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
Senate also referred the President's request to its Committee on INEC to report back in 1 week. Zion Victor Tadi, Iatv News.
In another news, President Muhammadu Buhari has nominated John Soho as the substantive Chief Judge of the Federal Court. Buhari, through a letter which was read on the floor of the Senate today, asked the Soho nomination be duly considered and confirmed. Soho was sworn as the acting Chief Judge of the Federal Court on July 26, 2019. The President also nominated Benedict Kanyimb as President of the National Industrial Court. Senate President Ahmed Lawan thereafter referred the letter to the Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters for legislative review. The committee is expected to turn in its report within a week. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed says the federal government is working on how to inject sanity into the social media. Mohammed made this known at a press conference in Abuja today. The minister had announced that online platforms will be regulated when he inaugurated a 7-man committee set up to implement reforms in the National Broadcasting Commission. Mohammed said the reforms that will be implemented by the committee are recommendations approved by President Muhammadu Buhari. The minister said no responsible government will allow fake news to dominate its media space because it is capable of causing crisis in the country. According to him, no amount of criticism will stop the implementation of the approved recommendations, adding that the implementation will commence immediately the committee submit its report. He said the administration of Buhari has no intention of gagging the press, but that its campaign is against fake news and hate speech. Labour unions have warned of a shutdown of the country after governors said a new minimum wage agreement approved by the federal government is not binding on the state. The organised labour said it will not accept any breach of the so-called consequential adjustment agreement, which details how the minimum wage of 30,000 naira will be implemented across various salary scales. The group, however, say they are open to negotiations with the state and will welcome implementation that takes into consideration how much the various states earn monthly. In a statement today, the leader of the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council, Simon Achamba, said the minimum wage is a law that has been signed by the president. He said there could be give and take during such talks with the state once they disclose their revenues. He said labour unions will meet on November 5th and will address the Joint Council at the various states. In this report, Ayodele Fake takes a look at efforts towards achieving a resolution on the implementation of the new minimum wage in state. The report is presented by Omobalaji Shobawadi.
When many had been thinking that seeming discord between the government and organized labor will soon be put to rest, recent developments point to the opposite, especially following the position of the Nigerian Governors Forum that the agreement between the federal government and the organized labor on consequential adjustments on the new minimum wage is not binding on state governments. This is as the Federal Executive Council had earlier directed that the payment of the new salary structure should take effect from April 18th and arrears cleared by December 31st. In reaction to the statement of the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Oyo State Chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Emmanuel Ogudiran, said the agreement over consequential adjustments is both a constitutional and national policy and as such is binding on all states.
Minimum wage is a national and a constitutional issue. Whoever among them that the Constitution has not favored in one way, for them to get into that office, let them come out and raise their fingers. It is within the prerogative of the executive, and they are part of the executive. They had been part of this committee right from the beginning. So why it comes to implementation and they are now saying it's not binding on them? Look, they are joking, and we are telling them authoritatively they are joking. A lot of them, they have not read in between the law that the labor of yesterday is now different from the labor of today.
Ogudiran, who expressed optimism in the capacity of Oyo State to pay the minimum wage, said the governors ought to invest their energies on more cogent issues rather than dissipating it on resolved matters.
I'm very sure my governor will not come to Oyo State and say he's not going to pay the national minimum. Oyo State is within the entity called Nigeria. My governor, Governor Seyi Makinde, had said it, even to our presence.
On his part, a financial analyst, Olaoluwa Morinde, explained that there is no legal binding on state governments to pay the agreement over consequential adjustments, adding that it is doubtful that the revenue base of most states will enable them pay the new minimum wage.
Federal government just came up with the minimum expected salary structure for both private and government workers in the public workers in the country. Is not binding on anybody. Presently, they are unable to pay. I'm aware that they have been borrowing money to pay salary, sort of. Now, if you are now putting additional burden on them, our governor is still playing pranks with all these people. So let's see how it will go.
Omoride explained that for the government to be able to pay the minimum wage, it may consider redeploying staff to other variable sectors, increasing the internally generated revenue and the revenue sharing formula, among others.
All those farm settlements he has in mind to establish, redeploy so many of them to that farm settlement and let them bring in more money. Two, the government needs to increase the IGR, and it's going to be a drastic one, aggressive one. Federal government needs to look at the revenue sharing formula, of which I don't see it coming in the nearest future.
It is noteworthy to state that although the new minimum wage will protect workers from exploitation, the capacity to pay as well as whether or not it will be worth anything considering the current economic realities remains unsure.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo today presided over the monthly National Economic Council meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Vice President, by the provisions of Nigeria's Constitution, is the chairman of NEC. The NEC meeting held monthly deliberates on the coordination of the economic planning effort and economic programs of the various levels of government. The meeting is traditionally held on Thursdays, but this month's meeting was shifted to today. The council comprises the 36 state governors, the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Minister of Finance, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and all the government officials, as well as agencies whose duties hinge on the economy. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has rejected the call for a unicameral legislature for Nigeria that would require scrapping the Senate or the House of Representatives. Speaking at an event in Abuja, Lawan described Nigeria's diversity as the basis of his argument. He said with a single parliamentary house, the ethnic minorities in the country will be underrepresented in parliament. He said the call should be for an improvement in the productivity of lawmakers and not for scrapping of one of the chambers. On the ongoing consideration of the 2020 budget, he said the target of October 29th as the last day for budget defense remains sacrosanct. Lawan said between October 30th and November 5th, all the Senate committees will defend their budgets before the appropriation committees of both the Senate and the House. He also reiterated that the National Assembly's commitment to presenting the budget before both houses on November 28th and pass it before the end of December. The House of Representatives has passed a bill seeking to amend the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act. The bill, which seeks to amend the act by reviewing the sharing formula to accrue more benefits for the federal government, has been passed by the Senate. The bill was resubmitted by President Muhammadu Buhari about 2 weeks ago after the past assembly failed to pass it. Nigeria is projected to earn an additional income of $1.4 billion annually from international oil companies operating in the country if the bill is passed into law. Most of the lawmakers, including Mohammed Mungano from Borno State and Chief Whip of the House, endorsed the review, adding that it is long overdue. But Isiaka Ibrahim from Ogun State expressed reservations over the review, which he warned could scare away investors from the oil sector. The Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative recently said Nigeria lost about $28 billion over a period of 10 years as a result of the failure to review the PSC Act. It said the review is necessary because oil production from PSCs has surpassed production from joint ventures and now contributes the largest share to Federation revenue. The Oyo State House of Assembly has screened the candidates nominated for the purpose of confirmation and appointment as the chairman and members of the Local Government Service Commission. The screening aired today at the chambers of the House. Iatv's correspondent Oluwashembade has details in this report.
The Local Government Service Commission was established under Act 37 of 1975 and came into force on 18 August 1983. It is vested with the executive right of appointing and promoting disciplinary control, removing from office and approving of retirement in respect of all local government officers. Today, the Oyo State House of Assembly is sitting screening the nominated candidates for the purpose of confirmation and appointment as the chairman and members of the Local Government Service Commission. The candidates nominated as the chairman of the Local Government Service Commission, Remi Ayodele, said all the nominees are experienced in the affairs of local governments, and as such, a lot to be done to ensure effective functioning of the state's local government.
We can assure you that we are very familiar with the dynamics of local government administration, all of us, without an exception. And we can assure you that what His Excellency is after is to turn things around for the good of the people of Oyo State. And we can assure you that That exactly is what we're going to do. We are going to turn things around. We are going to see to the system operating in the local government system and ensure that things work very well.
While deliberating on the issues, they asked further discuss the need to revive the agricultural sector of the state through the resuscitation of the Oyo State Agricultural Development Program, Iatv, for employment creation, improved internally generated revenue, and food security. Reacting to this, Honorable Dele Adetola, representing Isheyin Tesiwaju, who moved the motion, said agriculture is germane to the development of the state.
We have Osadep. It's not just an agency we want to establish, an existing agency, but their activities are moribund. The offices are moribund, the workers are not effective again. But one of the key areas of this administration is agriculture. We want to look at the way we can bring back the glory of that Osadep, Oyo State Agricultural Development Program.
After deliberations, the Speaker Debo Godoy ruled that Osadep headquarters be taken to Shaki. The House also called on the executive arm of government to install and put to use abandoned transformers in parts of the state. Oluwaseun Oyebade, Iatv News.
Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amici says the passenger traffic on Abuja-Kaduna Railway has increased from 1,000 to 3,700. He said the number of train users rose to 3,700 daily from its current capacity of 1,000 people owing to the rise of kidnapping and other security challenges on Abuja-Kaduna Road. Amici also said more coaches will be added to the route to reduce the number of passengers standing inside the train. The minister said a test run and free rides will commence on Lagos-Ibadan Railway service in December. He asked the contractor, China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, to complete the minor stations on Lagos-Ibadan Railway before November 25th. Amici also said the federal government will lay the foundation for the Kajula factory in Ogun State on November 8th. He said locomotives, wagons and coaches will be constructed in the Kajula factory by Chinese firms at no cost to Nigeria. Today's edition of People's Forum, as compiled by Iatv's correspondent Sheon Adioye, focuses on the closure of Nigerian borders. Let's hear their views.
Before closing of border, there are some things that are supposed to be put in place. You cannot just close border like that on emergency or whatever. And then when we are talking about border, we have some people that are concerned about the border, working on border issues. When we are talking about customs and other duties, and that means they are not doing their works. Because on the federal government claiming of closing border because of smugglers and other things, and why are they paying some people that are in charge? That means there is lapses. Now, for instance, now they close border that we should not import cars, rice, and others. In which, if you look at it, me and you know the cost of a new brand car now. To buy it is very difficult. When we have a lot of, if you hear the news today now, the ratio of poverty in Nigeria is increasing daily. No job. Graduates are there. There's no job vacancy for anybody. And people are trying to, but when there is no measure, it's not being put in place, and you say you close border, it has effect on agriculture. Now you can develop our agriculture. Yes, it's good. But are you saying that the closing of border, the government parastatal are not eating the same rights they say they close border for? Our law concerning each borders must stand. Now, if our yes is yes, our nays will be nay. Not that, okay, there's nothing like bringing in cars or whatever, but we'll be seeing along the road that cars are entering. Do you get it now? If we want to develop our this thing, we have to put a lot of things in place.
It depends. If they know that to open it will benefit us in Nigeria, they can open it. But if they know that it's not going to benefit us, they can leave it as it is and find alternative means for we Nigerians, as in the way of living, to make everything comfortable for us in Nigeria.
The coalition of United Political Parties says it has, through one of its alliance party members, Action People's Party, commenced legal action in the Federal High Court over the increase in value-added tax and other policies allegedly capable of unleashing sufferings on Nigerians. The federal government had recently announced its plan to increase VAT from 5% to 7.5%. In a statement, the spokesman of the group, Imo Ugochiyere, said the suit is aimed at bringing succor to Nigerians who, he said, have already been traumatized and impoverished. He alleged that Nigerians are daily being punished by the President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government through obnoxious tax regime and hiking of prices of government services. According to him, the Federal Court, presided over by Justice Ekwo of Court 5, has since commenced hearing in the litigation. The Niger State House of Assembly has passed into law the 2019 Supplementary Appropriation Bill of 30.24 billion naira. The House passed the bill following the presentation of the report of the Committee on Appropriation. Presenting the report, Chairman of the committee, Bashir Lokoguma, said the bill was necessitated by the inflow of additional funds not envisaged during the preparation of the 2019 budget. Lokoguma said some of the expected additional inflow include commercial bank loan of 5 billion naira, Islamic Development Bank loan of 15.392 billion naira, refund of tax form from FCT pegged at 6.45 billion naira, and 1.5 billion naira bond, among others. It said the bill has a recurrent expenditure of 2.98 billion naira, while capital expenditure is pegged at 27.26 billion naira. The Speaker of the House thereafter directed the clerk of the House to forward 5 copies of the bill to the governor for his assent. The 2019 budget size now stands at 194.247 billion naira, as against 164.5 billion naira initially approved. Plateau State Governor Samuel Lanlong has urged his new commissioners to harness the numerous resources in the state for good governance in the state. Lanlong spoke in Jos today during a retreat held for the commissioners and other top government officials at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. The governor, who declared the retreat open, pointed out that his administration cannot afford to fail the people on the 3-pillar policy of peace, physical infrastructure development, and sustainable economic rebirth. Hence the need for the commissioner to work hard to enable the government to achieve the objective. 21 state commissioners, permanent secretaries, among others, participated in the retreat with the theme, New Initiatives for Sustaining the Rescue Agenda to the Next Level. The Enugu Division of the Court of Appeal has affirmed the election of Ifeanyi Ubah of Young Progressive Party as senator representing Anambra South. The judge I.M. Salawu, in 2 separate judgments, dismissed the appeal filed by Chris Ubah of the People's Democratic Party and Andy Ubah of the All Progressive Congress. The National and State Houses of Assembly Election Petition Tribunal in Okwa had, in its judgment on September 9th, affirmed Ifeanyi Ubah as duly elected. However, the Ubah borders approached the appellate court on ground of alleged miscarriage of justice by the tribunal. Chris, in his appeal, alleged that the tribunal failed to consider all the exhibits tendered before it while arriving at the judgment. He urged the court to address the alleged issue of the improper accreditation which the trial court allegedly glossed over. The PDP candidate told the court that the 3 major documents upon which the election result was anchored, such as the card reader, voters register, and Form EC8A1, had different figures. Andy, on its part, urged the appellate court to nullify the election for allegedly corrupt practices by Ifeanyi. In the judgment, the court dismissed the submissions of Chris' witnesses as heresies evidence. It also held that the witnesses presented at the trial court by Andy did not discharge their duties. The court therefore aligned itself with the judgment of the trial court and dismissed the appeals as unmeritorious. Still to come, Customs seizes 34 containers of expired rice at Tinkan Port. CPJ says Nigeria is among 13 worst countries in unsolved murders of journalists. On the foreign scene, deadly earthquake hit the Philippines. This is shortly when Israel returns. Please stay with us.